Hey everyone! I've got a tutorial for you guys today. It's been a while since I've been able to post a tutorial video, and if you've watched my last couple of videos then you know that we were searching for a house and things fell through, we ended up in a bad situation and all kinds of stuff. If you want to know more about that, I will leave the card up in the corner on this side, I think it is. It's in one of the corners. So if you want to watch those videos, you can go ahead and do that. That explains a lot, and just now a lot of packing and just very busy the last little while. So it's been tough to get some of this stuff done, but I wanted to get a back to school video done for you guys, or maybe you guys just want to try this out. Maybe you don't go to school or whatever and you just kind of want to try this out. That's great too. But what I want to show you guys is how to make these really cool tie-dye book covers. Tie-dye is really big right now, once again, and I want to show you guys how you can make these. It's really simple and it doesn't really cost a whole lot of money to do it. It's pretty cheap, and you can do it to a lot of different books. I'm going to be using just these really cheap composition notebooks that you can get at the dollar store. It costs like $1.25 for this, but you can use, if you can't find this, because I know I've heard some other people from other countries saying that they have a hard time to find these notebooks. So if you don't worry, you can use just a hardcover notebook or something like that. This one's cardboard, so it's a little more sturdy than just like a paper cover. So you want something that's at least this kind of sturdy. And as I said, you can use harder cover notebooks too if that's all you can find and you really want to make these notebooks. So besides that, the other thing that I want to talk to you guys about, and I've been getting a lot of questions about this one thing over on my gold leaf sort of designer inspired notebook covers that I did a few months ago. And that question is, what the heck is a bone folder? Even though I do show it in my video, I still get questions about it all the time. What is it? Can I use something else? So let's talk about a bone folder real quickly here. If you want, you can skip ahead to the tutorial if you already know what a bone folder is, or if you just don't really care. But I just wanted to clarify a few things about it. So this right here is a bone folder. It's used for paper crafts like card making and scrapbooking and things like that, but it's also good for smoothing out air bubbles and stuff when you're gluing pages together like we will be doing for the books, and also burnishing and stuff like that. So as you can see, this one's made of a plastic material. It's very smooth and dull around the edges so that it doesn't catch on papers, and this I guess the texture of it, the feel of it, is what makes it so great, rather than some people ask if you can use a popsicle stick or whatever. Sure, you can, but in my opinion this tool is really worth just investing in one. It shouldn't cost you any more than $10 to get one of these. The fact that this is such a smooth surface and everything just keeps it from catching on papers, and just you can, once your paper is on, you can sort of put quite a bit of pressure on it without it snagging or anything like that. So in my opinion, it's worth having this tool to do the job. But if you don't want to buy one, or you know, if you're doing this for back to school and your parents don't really want to get one because they don't see the value in it, then that's fine. You can use a popsicle stick, but just know that you have to be very careful and take your time with the popsicle stick, because it's not meant to do the same job as this. So it might catch, especially on these thin papers that we're going to be using for this project. Those edges won't be all nice and smoothed out like this. So this is the bone folder. So that's all I have to say about the bone folder. I hope that helps some of you guys out. So without further ado, let's get into tie-dyeing and covering these notebooks with our awesome tie-dyed paper.
So the first thing I recommend is to make sure that you have a surface to work on that either you don't care if you get it a little bit messy, or you can do as I'm doing. I'm just going to cover my surface with a little bit of aluminum foil, just because I don't want to get any colors or glue or anything on my surface, and that way I can just throw the aluminum foil away afterwards. Next thing you're going to need is some paper towels. Now, you want to make sure that you're using 2-ply paper towels. I got this roll from the dollar store. You really do not need the expensive paper towels. These ones work really well for what we're going to do, so I recommend just spending as little as possible on them and get a roll from the dollar store like I did. The other thing you want to make sure is that your paper towels are the towels that are the full sheet of paper towels, not the select size or the ones you can tear in half to use smaller portioned paper towels. So you want the full sheet paper towels because this needs to fit over the size of our book cover. Next, you're going to need Sharpie markers in whatever colors you choose. I have a lot. I got the very, very big pack of Sharpies, but you can get the smaller packs, I think, that are just 8 colors. It really doesn't matter. And there are certain colors that work better for the bleeding than others. I found that the very, very bright pink, the blue, and the yellow are the colors that bled the best without leaving too much ink in one spot, if that makes sense. As you can see, some of them leave a line behind, and you want to try to avoid that. So I'm going to show you 2 different styles of tie-dyeing patterns. There are many, many other ways. You can take a look at Pinterest if you're interested. The first style I'm going to show you, you want to take one paper towel and you want to pinch it in the middle to get started. Once you've got your center pinched, you want to hold it and start trying to wrap the rest of your paper towel around it, just like you see me doing here. And you want to keep it as flat as possible. You don't want it to bunch up too much, you just want to kind of wrap it exactly like you see me doing here. Once you've got that wrapped nice and tightly, you're going to need some rubber bands. It doesn't matter what size they are. I'm just actually using a few random rubber bands that I've saved from different things, so it really doesn't matter. And you're just going to start wrapping the rubber bands across the center around the outside. And if that's hard to understand, just do what I'm doing in the video. Maybe that would be more simple to understand. And then your second elastic band is going to go perpendicular across the center of that first elastic band. And then you're going to do 2 more after this one, doing the same thing through the center, sort of like dividing it up into pizza slices, if that is a helpful analogy. So once you've got your 4 elastic bands secured onto your paper towel, your bunch should look just like this. So we're just going to set that one aside, and I'm going to show you another technique that will create a different type of design. So first I'm just going to take my full paper towel, I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to fold it in half once more so that I'm getting a small square. And I'm going to fold it in half again, and then once more so that I end up with a very small square. Then I'm just going to choose one of the corners, and I'm going to bunch up that paper towel in my hand, and then I'm just going to simply wrap 3 elastic bands around this piece. And then from here we can start coloring these. So I'm going to use different techniques for coloring these. You can do exactly as I do, or you can try different things on your own and just experiment. You'll end up with a different result each time. So coloring the circular piece first, you can color each section between the elastic bands a different color if you like, or you can start coloring in the center and do rings. You can do whatever you like. And when you're coloring your sections, you want to really make sure that your paper towel is getting nice and saturated with ink, but you do not want to rub your marker across the surface of it too much, or you'll just end up with a lot of tearing. So what you want to do is just sort of press your Sharpie marker tip into the paper towel to really get that ink embedded in there. And you can continue going over the area even after it looks fully saturated with ink, because you just really want as much ink as possible in there. So just go over it a few times, just dabbing down into the paper towel rather than rubbing. So just to note, I do recommend wearing rubber gloves for this part, because you will get this Sharpie ink on your hands and it isn't easy to wash off. It will take at least a day or 2 for it to fully be removed. And if you're younger and watching this tutorial and wanting to do it, I really don't want your parents getting upset about your colorful hands and having to go to school like that. So make sure, wear gloves. So once you've got your paper towels saturated, you're going to need some rubbing alcohol and a small paintbrush. So you're just going to take your small paintbrush, as you see me doing here, and you're going to dip it in and just start dropping the alcohol onto the paper towels and really soaking it really well. Now, you probably want to do this in a well-ventilated area, open a window, because the alcohol smell can be a little bit strong. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. So just do it in a well-ventilated area because you are going to need to use quite a bit of this alcohol. So I'm really just soaking this paper towel really well and just dropping it in places where the colors meet so that they start bleeding together. And you'll start to see that happening here in the video. So again, if you're going to be picking this up, which I would recommend because you want to soak the sides as well, use gloves. I forgot to find my gloves, so I'm using a plastic bag, which you can do as well if you don't have gloves. So just pick that sucker up and just continue on soaking it with your alcohol. Once you've finished soaking your bunched up paper towels with alcohol, you're just going to need to set them aside to dry, but you still want them to be slightly damp before you move on to the next step. So now I'm satisfied with how dry these are. They're still slightly damp, and again, please wear gloves because my hands are about to get really colorful. So now at this point, you're just going to remove your elastic bands very carefully. If you have fingernails, be careful not to pinch the paper towels with your fingernails as you're removing your elastic bands because you will end up with holes in your paper towels. You can work around them, but it's best not to have to. So once you get those elastic bands off of there, you're just going to very carefully loosen up the paper towel just by wiggling it a little bit. And again, as I said, you do not want it to rip, so you have to be gentle, you have to be careful. And look at how amazing this one looks. This was my favorite one. It turned out so great. So once you get your paper towel all unraveled, you want to gently stretch it out back to its original shape as much as possible because it has shrunk a little bit being all bunched up like that and being wet. And in order to cover your book, you really need it to be as big as possible. So just very carefully stretch it out and then allow it to dry fully from there. So now we need to prepare our book so that those tie-dyed paper towels will show up really nice and vibrantly on the cover. So what we'll need to do is cover up this existing black and white pattern, and for this we're just going to use simple plain printer paper. So you're going to need two pieces, one for the front cover and one for the back cover. So starting with the front cover, take one of your sheets of printer paper and you're going to need your glue stick. So you just want to cover this entire sheet of paper with your glue stick. And I recommend going in a pattern from center out towards the perimeter of the paper. It's just a good technique for keeping track of where you've applied glue and making sure that your page isn't getting all crinkled, and it's a less frustrating way to get glue on your entire sheet. So I recommend doing it like that. Then you're just going to take that sheet of paper and you're going to line it up along that black spine tape. And if you're using a different book, then just line it up, I would say about 3/4 of an inch out from the spine. Then you're just going to use your bone folder to smooth out any air bubbles and make sure that that piece of paper has really good contact with the cover of your book. Next, just open up the cover of your book, and then you're going to trim your paper so that you have the exact same amount left all the way around. So in this case, we're just trimming one edge. And you want to have about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch left all the way around. Then we're going to cut our corners at a 45-degree angle, leaving about 1/4 of an inch of paper. Next, you're going to want to glue your flaps of paper to the inside of your book. So just apply some glue to those flaps and press them down. And when it comes to the corners, you just want to pleat the paper as you fold it around those rounded corners. And you can just refer to the video to see how I've done it. And make sure that you use your bone folder to really smooth out those flaps and really press down those corners. Now you'll just repeat that entire covering process to the back cover. And now we have both covers finished. So now we're going to apply those tie-dyed paper towels that we just finished creating. And this is where your book is really going to start to come together. So you just want to take your tie-dyed paper towel and test it on the cover to see which part you want to be on the cover. Once you've got that figured out, you're just going to line it up along the same edge as the white paper next to the spine, and you're going to trim it so that you have about an inch of excess paper towel along the opening edges of your book. Now take your glue stick once again and cover the entire surface of the cover with the glue stick, excluding that strip along the spine. Next, take your tie-dyed paper towel and once again line it back up along the spine. And then now you want to take your bone folder once again and very, very gently start rubbing it across the surface of your paper. You need to make sure that you're doing this very gently because those paper towels are very delicate, and with the added moisture from the glue underneath, if you aren't using a very light touch, you will end up with tears. So please, to avoid frustration, be very, very delicate and take your time. So once you start smoothing that paper towel out and it starts to stick to the glue underneath, you're going to notice that the top layer or the top ply of that paper towel is starting to pull away from the underneath layer. And this is exactly what you want. It's perfectly normal because what we're going to do once it's fully stuck on there is we're going to peel that top ply away and we're going to use it for the back cover of the book. So you'll be able to have the exact same pattern on the back cover as you do on the front cover. Then to finish up the edges, you'll use the same technique that we used for trimming the paper and folding the flaps in and gluing them as we did with the plain white printer paper. Next, we're going to finish the inner cover, and we're just once again going to use plain printer paper for this, just so that the focus will be on the front cover and it won't be too busy. And it also helps keep the cost of the project down, not having to buy extra papers. So what you'll need to do is take your ruler and measure from the very inner edge of the cover that meets the pages out toward the outer edge of the cover. And we want our page to end up finishing about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge of the book. And then from the length of the book, we're going to need to take off 1/2 inch, 1/4 of an inch on each edge. So I'm going to go cut 2 of these, one for the front cover and one for the back for later. But of course, you will want to measure your own cover to get the proper length and height that you should be cutting your inner cover sheets. Once you've got your cover insides cut, you just want to test them on the cover to make sure that they do fit. Then load it up with glue and glue it to your inside cover. And remember to butt it up against the spine. Now you've got your entire front cover finished inside and out, and you're going to repeat the entire covering process to your back cover. At this point, if you're using the same composition notebooks that I'm using, your book can be finished. But there's one last optional thing I want to show you, and this will be especially useful for people who are using a hardcover book that doesn't have the tape along the spine. So here, like I said, you have that black tape along the spine, so it does look fine. But if you choose to cover that spine, if you want to do a little bit something different, if you want to add color, or you can just cover it in white, all you need to do is just take a piece of paper, or you could even use a colorful duct tape and wrap it around your book over top of that black strip or along that spine that we left empty if you're using a hardcover book. So you can use the steps that I'm demonstrating here in the video to do the same thing. Now you can see here in the video that I've only covered the spine after I finished the inside cover, and that was only just to show it to you guys as an option. But if I show you over here on this other tie-dye book that I completed, if I were planning to cover that spine from the very beginning, I would want to do that before I finish my inside cover. So those little extra flaps would be folded in over the cover, and everything would be covered up by the inside pages, and everything looks nice and neat and tucked away. So just keep that in mind as you're planning your own books.
So I hope that you guys really liked this tutorial. If you did, make sure to click the thumbs up below. That really helps me out. And if you did like this video and you want to keep up to date on all of my future videos, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Just click that little subscribe button down below or at the end of the video. There's lots of ways to subscribe, so if you want to keep up with my videos, make sure to do that. There's going to be a little bit of a delay probably until my next video, just because, as I said, we're in the middle of packing and moving next week. So if you don't see a video for a week or two, don't worry. I'll be back with lots more videos. I just need to get everything sorted out at our new house. So when I do come back, I will have a better background than this mess, and things will be new and I'll be in a different place, and I'm really excited. So I guess that's it for this video. I hope you guys have a super awesome day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!